Okay, I left you the last time showing it, was going to let it sit and think about what we were going to do on how to get this table together. And some thinking was going on about different kinds of things we could use for the bottom, for the stand. Remember earlier I told you I was going to have another post or some fashion or something coming down here to support the table. Well, Jeff suggested that we move the top closer that way or further that way and not have some, just a little portion sitting here on this post. And that kind of is what is going on here. And then we get back down to the situation where we're trying to figure out this foot. And Jeff come up with a keen idea. And what? We? Well, no, it was your idea. All right. Jeff came up with a keen idea about using a metal plate, a 1/4-inch metal plate. This would be the one of the ideas at the moment. It'd be an ovalish type of triangle shape, and have 3 feet, bolted to the bottom of the steel plate, and that would keep the tabletop from teetering that way. And and then can you see what I'm looking at? Focus that down there. And then here we could have Smitty with his CNC machine cut out the perimeter or the relief of the state of Montana. So in other words, it'd be a hole. And then we came up with maybe not so much the triangle, but using an ovalish shape, and which would be pretend that log and is sitting on there, and then this would be the front. This is where this log is sitting. This is just back here, and then here would be like a magazine rack we could take and make out of metal and fasten it on there. And that was kind of the idea we just had a second ago. And so we are at this stage now, determining whether this way or maybe even another way. So we'll pick this up when we come out with something more. What's going on here is we're taking a grinder with the flap sander and easing the edges of the top, and we're kind of trying to walk the surface or the perimeter of the thing and kind of blend it in to where all these curves and such will come together and look better. Like for instance here, this will taper in, and then this one here will come down just a bit so that this feature of this knot here stays where it's at. So this will kind of curl down, but we're going to do it in stages. Notice how this live edge here kind of slopes up at an angle, so it's beveled out or down. So this edge here will get a little bit turned in a little bit, so that it flows into that live edge. See, now you can see where that hard edge was taken off. Where that hard edge was before was taken off, and now it kind of just walks through and flows right into that live edge there. Well, after a little bit of experimentation and playing around, the top is excuse me, has been a little bit eased with the edges, kind of giving us an idea of how it's going to look when it, more towards the end. And then we played with making a lamp gooseneck type of a fixture frame thing with some electrical tubing, bent it a little bit, kind of give a idea of something that we could play with. We've determined we definitely don't want to use galvanized pipe, or in this case silverish color. We're going to stick with black pipe, but that just gives us some, an idea. A lot of this whole process is toying with ideas and coming up with something, as you work along, and saying, oh, that ain't going to work. Or this looks better, or that looks better. So we're on the right track there. We just haven't figured out the fixture end of it. But as far as the base is concerned, we've kind of got, which is going to be a steel plate bolted to the bottom of the supporting post there. And I kind of got some furniture feet here, rubber bottom thingies, and acorn nuts. I think that would look a little bit better, with the acorn nut on top. That would be the steel plate. And this one here is a little bit smaller nut, and this one here is a little bit bigger. And the thread, or the bolt size of these, are two different sizes. And I kind of like the bigger nut on the smaller foot. That foot there is almost twice the size of this guy. So I just got them sitting out there to get an idea of what it would look like. So in other words, there'd be four of them, two on each, one on each corner. And so we're just going to let it sit. I am going to let it sit there for the day and come back and toy with it some more. Tomorrow, Jeff is supposed to be here, and we'll come up with more of a solid plan. But there it is at the moment, and I think by the time, see that bulbous knot down there would be matching that guy there coming out, and so that looks nice, I think. So we'll get with this and pick this up when we get a little bit further on. All right, so now I'm down to the situation where I need to get a hole drilled into the tabletop for that dowel that's sitting there. And I've already got a hole drilled through the post, or the lamp post. I got a piece of wire here that goes through, you can see it poking out. And so that is ready to go. With that wire there sticking out like it is, I can take and tie on the lamp cord and use that to pull it through the post coming out the top. Well, I also got to take this dowel and drill a hole through the center of him, and so that would allow the lamp cord to come through. And so what I'm doing right now is orienting the lamp post, which kind of looks like it's sort of in the center this way. And what I'm going to do is show you how to determine where to, or how that hole will be drilled into the tabletop itself. And hang on just a second, and I'll show you. I kind of got it centered where I think it looks like it's pretty good. and I don't want it all the way to the back, so that I know. Well, and then I just take and draw a line around the stump or post, whatever. Ah! Damn thing moved. Dummy. Hold on a second, I gotta get it back into position here. Okay. Alright, so what I've done is just, you just seen, drew a line around the shape of that post. I tip them down. And the big hole there that's already drilled is the same size as the dowel that's sitting over there. All I've got to do is just measure from those prominent points at the end of the post and get an idea where the center of that. Again, this ain't rocket science. We're just trying to get it close. And I think I can do that pretty easily by doing what we're about to do. Looks to be about 2 3/4. And that would be from this point right there. So I'm going to burn an inch. 1, 2 3/4. And then from this point to there, what would be the bottom point, it's about 2 3/8, and that's the prominent point right there, which is here. So burn an inch, mark 2 3/8, 1, 2 3/8. Okay, and then from this spot here, it's kind of like what you're trying to do is get it so that when you take a multitude of measurements, you'll get it pretty darn close. If you just took 1 or 2, you might be off a bit, but with 3, we'll be pretty close. So I'll go from here to there. That's 3 3/8. So that's here. That would be here. 3 3/8. So burning an inch. 1, 2, 3 3/8. Okay. So take those 3 points. And that should get us pretty close to that line, or the scribed line that's on the plank. And we'll pick this up in a bit. Okay, now we're sitting up over here at the drill press, ready to bore the hole for the dowel where that top post, the lamp post, would be sitting. And I've got a piece of drill rod in there. The issue is trying to this is an odd shaped table. It's not true and flat by any stretch of the imagination because of, well, trying to keep it keep it looking, sort of natural, and not have it, milled out and sanded, exactly flat. Coplanar, I guess, would be a good word. And the only way to check that would be to put a straight piece of metal in the drill chuck. And if I take the square and hold it up there, I can see that it's out this way, well, in 6 inches, about a heavy eighth. But this way, it's pretty darn close. So to fix that, or to get it flat, we're just going to use some shims, and we're going to stick them underneath there. I am going to stick it underneath there where I think it needs to be, and check the square again. Because you basically got 2 directions, this way and this way. So this way doesn't matter. Needs to go up a bit more. And a bit more. and a bit more. We'll get there eventually. Touch too high. Another thing to do too is if you have a light, like another source of light, like this task light I have here, you can put the light in front of it and put the square, or in this case I put it behind it. And then if I look, if I see any daylight through there, then I know that I'm not exactly square to the square. Or the quill there is not square to my work. So I'm getting closer. A little too much now. It just takes some fussing with is all it does. Ooh, that's beautiful. And that's a little high. I'm gonna clamp this here corner so that, because that's good. Check it again. Ooh, God, where do they get these guys? That's a little high. So take this one out. It'd be easier if this thing was all nice and true and flat, but we're not trying to strive for that because that's not the project idea here. Ooh, that's gorgeous. Ta-da! All right, put the other clamp on. Double check it. Oh, God almighty. Couldn't be sweeter. Okay, well, I'll take the drill rod. All this is a piece of drill rod that's had not been made into a drill yet. I'm going to lower the table. I've got another video on YouTube, but it's an automatic motorized table upper and downer, and there's the motor there. So all I do is push the switch and it goes down, and I put the switch the other way and it goes up. It's always best to turn your quill around, and they got 3 holes in there for a reason. You hit every one of them. And I'm going to bring the light back on this side. And I can adjust the table by to get it on my dot there. And see, I gotta, maybe you can see it from there. Nope, you can't see shit. Hold on. The little plus sign there, the target. So I'm just orienting the table so that the point on the drill bit hits that spot, and I'm right on it. So I lock the table and I can drill. and we'll pick this up when I get back over to the bench.